How y'all doing? Welcome to the Lawrence Souffrant Podcast. I am Lawrence Souffrant, and I have a beautiful guest with me. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Natalie Alexander. I'm a licensed professional counselor and relationship coach.
Awesome. Natalie Alexander. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would those words be?
It would be loving, intelligent, and sensual.
Loving, intelligent, and sensual. Break that down for the audience.
I love people, and it's just a part of who I am. Could be, from a trauma response, but it still is a part of who I am. And intelligent, because I'm learning. I'm a learner, and I just love to share information. I love to learn, and I love to teach also just people new things and different perspectives, new perspectives. And sensual is just a part of who I am. Yeah. And learning to rein that in and make it mine.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Make it mine so that I can, I don't know, it's the best way I could say it for right now, making it mine.
So sensual versus sexual, or are we using them interchangeably?
Can you explain to me the difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Like sensual, from my perspective, I'm not a linguistic, right? But sensual, I kind of am. I'm lying. Sensual is more about stimulation, right? Stimulating the senses, but it doesn't have to have a sense of lust, right? So, like, let's say a dancer can dance sensually, but she's not trying to entice, or he's not trying to entice.
Right.
Now, whether you're aroused or not, that's completely up to you, but
Right.
it's more about the art form.
Yes.
It's supposed to be attractive and stimulating, yes,
Yeah.
but not necessarily arousing.
Right.
While sexual is under the umbrella of sensual, but it's designed specifically to be sexual. I want to turn you on.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Sensual.
Sensual. Okay, got
Yes.
it. Got
Yes.
it.
There is a dance, West African dance. I'm a part of a West African dance company in Atlanta. And there's a dance that I recently learned called Wolof. And I love it. It's my favorite dance ever, mainly because it is demonstrating like a movement that is, full of undulations. But it's just kind of showing like, this is me. And, we do it to the drummers. And it's just very open. And yeah.
Want to show us a little bit?
No. No, I'm saving it for my living room and my partner.
Hey, living room and partner.
Yes.
I would go there, but
When I meet him.
there we go. Okay, she answered. She answered it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, she is. I wasn't trying to, get you jammed up, and hopefully we release this while that's still true.
Right.
So he don't feel no type of way.
Right,
you feel me?
right.
All right. So now you recently published a book, correct?
I did, and I'm excited about it. It's called The Magic of Relationship Resilience, Empowering Intimate Communication and Wellness.
Intimate communication and wellness. I love that subtitle. Can you break that down a little bit?
Yes, because a lot of our communication tends to be superficial, tends to be messaging or transactional. And in relationships, it's important to be vulnerable and transparent to get to that deeper level in intimacy, of course, emotional intimacy, and of course, sexual intimacy also, and wellness, which all encompasses wellness. It leads to wellness when we can communicate with depth and transparency and vulnerability. It really does contribute to whole wellness. Right.
So why this book? Why relationship resilience?
Because it came out of my marriage, which ended 5 years ago.
Okay.
And when I was married, I thought it was going to be forever. At least I hoped and prayed that it would be forever, right? So it was not, we did not achieve resilience. And the first few pages of my book are for those people who want to achieve longevity in their relationship. And relationships are difficult. They're challenging. And when we experience challenges, we develop resilience. So I want to give the readers the opportunity to develop resilience through the challenges that they're going to experience in their relationship.
Okay, so then your book is more for long-term couples, if you will. Could you use the term longevity?
People whose intentions it is to be long-term, to be long-term, whether they are married or dating long-term, committed long-term. I do make the distinction in the book between a committed relationship and situationship, because situationship is not commitment.
Right.
And I don't want to encourage a sense of longevity for somebody that's just in a situationship.
No, why not?
It's just, it causes too much internal upheaval. Why? Because one of the people is not serious about taking this long term. So why would the reader want to implement some of these things for a relationship that's not going to last?
I see what you're saying.
And both people in the relationship must agree that it is a committed relationship in order for it to be a committed relationship, and in order to justify the building of resilience in said relationship.
I see.
Romantic relationship. Yeah.
So now, there are a lot of different relationship structures, right?
Yes.
And so there are those who do desire the long term, even if it's not marriage. There's these life partners now, that are in the rise.
Yes.
But there are still quite a few people, and I would even say I was shocked a few years ago, but now it's kind of common to me, the amount of women who are looking for kind of those flings, if you will. Even if in other words, the relationship is purely sexual. Back in the day, we used to call them hoes. Now, I don't know what we call them. I guess we call them people. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But, we used to call them hoes. I'm going to use the term hoe for the sake of, so I don't have to, I'm not PC like that, right?
Sure.
So a lot of women are opting to be hoes. And they're opting to entertain the whole culture where I call you when I'm available. You call me when you're available. It's nothing serious. We're not getting to know each other on a relationship level. We don't have to go out to eat. Just, when it's time, it's time. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that construct is hurtful to the culture and hurtful to the community. It baffles me in the sense that there's so much that women who engage in that way of living would probably have to internally struggle with to make things make sense in those interactions. Because we can't deny that when people are having sex, or when we're having sex, you can't deny the oxytocin that's released. We can't deny the connections that are still being made. So I just believe that there's an emotional undercurrent that drives those kinds of interactions and leads to, I say leads to, although as though there is research out here, but I'm just going to presumptuously say leads to depression, or at least exacerbates it, because it's just pulling. There's not a building, right? Because we know that, and I've heard you say it before, that sex is a glue, and that's what it was intended to do: deepen the connection, deepen the bond. So if we're just casually doing this and hoeing, what are we building? What are we? Where's the glue? And I really think that to some degree it's disrespectful to humanity. It's disrespectful to oneself and to the partner that you're with. And those are my thoughts.
That makes sense. I hear you. Because I talked to several men and women who kind of partake in that lifestyle or are planning to partake in that lifestyle. One of the things that they always explain to me, well, let me preface this. I talk to them outside of a professional setting. Okay. Right? These are like, people I'm just cool with, friends or whatever. So let me make that clear. Yeah. Right? Okay. So with that being said, I'm not here to coach them. I'm not here to help them heal anyway. We just having conversation, right? And so for a lot of them, the reason why they opt for this type of lifestyle is because they've tried the long term. They've tried the marriage thing, or they tried to connect with somebody and it didn't work out for whatever the reasons are. Okay. And so now they're in a space where they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go after the pleasure. I'm just going to do my thing. And, at least on a surface level, they seem to enjoy it. They say things like, I've experienced, orgasms I've never had before, or the way that, these men are touching me. None of my husbands have ever touched me like that, whatever, right? They're having these euphoric, I would say, experiences. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that I'm happy for you. I mean, this is good. You're experiencing things you've never experienced before. That would be secondary. primarily, my first thought when you were saying that is, well, that's what my book is for, to help people to achieve longevity. It's possible. It's possible. And you can achieve the sexual euphoria in that context. I remember a conversation that you and I had about a certain community of people that just don't know how to have sex.
That's true.
And they don't talk about it. It's not taught. It's not encouraged. The freedom in the bedroom is just not encouraged. And chapter 4 is specifically about the freedom to have sex and enjoy it because it's good and it was meant to be enjoyed, right? So it's possible inside the marital context, or I say marital, but inside the context of commitment, and it's enjoyable in that context. It's probably more enjoyable than outside if I can make that presumption. But it's possible, and I believe that my book, if nothing else, can help people take the steps towards achieving that kind of euphoria and peace and comfort and those kinds of experience. Now, well, I think I said this earlier, the committed relationships are not easy. It takes work. It takes intention. It takes time, especially when we're coming into these committed relationships unhealed and wounded. Then it's going to take that time. But then again, it deepens the passion and the bond in that, underneath that umbrella. And I want to say, now that I think about it, to those people who prefer to engage in casual sex, there's no judgment. I'm not judging you. There's no condemnation. Like it is what it is, right? To those people, I want to say that, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I will say this while you're thinking about it, because I might trigger something. Because as I'm thinking about the various people that I know that engage in that, one of the things that they also say is, for some of them, right, the lack of heavy pressure, right? Because when you're in a relationship, you got to deal with the emotions. You got to be supportive, right? When it's just sexual, it's like, yo, you know what I mean? We still hugging and we cuddling, this, that, and the third, but I don't got to solve your problems. I might cook you a meal, but I don't have to. Like, whatever I do, there's a greater appreciation because you don't have the expectation that I do these things. And if I don't feel like doing it, it doesn't disrupt what we have going on. While in a committed relationship, there sometimes tend to be a pressure. And from what I've discovered, at least if we're talking women, because your book is geared towards women, when there's infidelity or when the man is not stepping up, which is a plethora of things, whether it's financially, emotionally, whatever the case is, it's liberating for some of them to just say, F it. You know, I don't got to deal with any of that. I'm just going to step on out and still have a sense of companionship. And I use the word sense intentionally, right?
Yes.
A sense of companionship, getting my sexual needs met without any of those other pressures that your book gives advice on, you know?
Right. What I remember, thank you. I remember what I was going to say. Because my observation, I've been able to see that what you described is easier, but I believe that it quiets the trauma that underlies some of this behavior, right? The effort, I'm just going to do this. It's just no pressure. It quiets the internal trauma and wounds. I know of some people that engage in, hoeing and just several partners because it's a way of control. I call him when I want to, and I put him down when I don't want him, and he's not going to tell me, I'm going to put it on him, and I'm going to make him want me more. Which, okay, but you go home lonely, or you go home wishing that he would call you, and you go home wondering why, when you called his name out and said, do you love me, that he didn't answer. So it's one 6 half 6 eggs, half a dozen in the other, because while it's a wonderful experience, the internal work is still not being done.
That's deep. I want y'all to really interact in the comments. I want to know how much of this you guys agree with and how much of this you think is cap. I'm just curious to know, right? And I'm asking because I'm wondering if it's either, well, I can think of at least two things. Either A, they're fighting that aspect, right? They don't want to admit, you know how sometimes you'll deny it so it's not real,
Right.
but they might actually be having a struggle.
Right.
Or B, they're not even, they're so disgusted by even the idea of commitment because of the hurt that they went through, that that's not even crossing their mind, you know? So I am curious to know how many women and men for that matter, but we're talking about women, how many of them are fighting real connection to maintain a specific type of lifestyle.
Fighting real connection.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent words. Fighting real connection.
Yeah. Because I could see if they start falling for somebody that was just supposed to be a hoe to them, they're a hoe to them, that person's a hoe for them, right? It's a mutual understanding. We got this.
Right.
The person who's catching feelings might not feel like it's safe to even admit that, or they may try to move the relationship in that direction. And when it gets, shut down, it kind of messes the whole thing up. Because it's hard to go back to just being a hoe when you're looking now for a partner. When you see a partner in them, I can see that.
Right. When you see a partner in them.
Yeah.
Because that's what sex is meant to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's possible that they might just be fighting it.
Yeah.
I really hope people interact because I want to know if there's another perspective that I'm just not thinking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a thought that I had. Once again, because the euphoria is connected to an emotion and of pleasure. And if that's what you're seeking when you're hoeing, it's just the pleasure.
Right.
It's not the connection. It's not the bond.
Right.
But those things are inevitable.
Inevitable is the word. Inevitable, meaning if we're having sex, at some point we're going to bond.
At some point we're going to bond.
That's deep. I can't think of any exceptions, so I'm inclined to believe you. You know what I mean? I can't think of any long-term exceptions. I've even seen it where they had like a purely sexual relationship until one of them finds the quote-unquote love of their life.
See?
And they still experience a type of breakup.
Yes.
Because it's like, dang, my favorite eater is now, trying to be a wife. Like, she used to, go crazy. Now she get married. Yeah. And it's like, dang, this man about to get this on a regular. Like, what is going on?
See?
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
It does happen.
Yep.
So now, if this understanding is true, let's move off of the assumption that everything that we just said is facts.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Just to progress the conversation.
Yeah.
There are married women who will see divorced women as liberated and may be attracted to now entering that space. Your book is all about longevity.
Yes.
So what do you say to the women who are entertaining divorce because this marriage just isn't working?
Don't do it. Do not divorce him. Because you can have better inside the marriage than a divorced woman can have outside.
Aren't there exceptions to that?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's exceptions to everything.
Right.
Yeah. The woman, I don't remember her name, Eat, Pray, Love. And I think she wrote a sequel or did something more than that, right? Of course, right? Yeah. But there was a cost to all of that also.
Yeah. So I think what I hear you saying is, at the very least, truly give it your all. And I think part of giving it your all is removing it off the table. Because as long as divorce is an option, you might entertain it.
Right. As long as it's an option, it's an option. Right. And I am saying that. Do everything you can. And it's probably going to require a level of healing and a level of introspection. Because my book does talk about self-care, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, saying no to people outside so you can say yes to yourself and yes to your husband. And that's different than what our society and our culture is teaching. So don't get divorced. Why?
How self-aware do you think women are? Why? I know, put it in a trap. You should have seen the face that she made. How self-aware you think women are?
Listen, I don't think that women are that self-aware. I think we're more self-absorbed.
Oh, she was honest on camera. Talk
And
on
I
it.
said we.
Yeah, yeah.
We. I think we're self-absorbed. But I'm gonna say I really think that men play into that also, like our boyfriend or our partner. You know, they kind of play into it because he wants us to be happy. He wants to see us smile, so he'll do the thing for us, or he'll be present for us, and then it just feeds us and feeds the self-absorption. And then when we are emotional in the relationship, he's upset because he doesn't want us to be emotional, so he stops doing what he does, and many times sacrifices how he's feeling in the conversation to attend to what we're feeling. It enables the self-absorption. So there's a part that he plays to it. And of course, culture and society also, I think, is a factor with this heavy emphasis on sexuality and sensuality and beauty and much superficial things. But to answer your question, yes, women are self-absorbed.
Self-absorbed.
Yes.
You know, you said something right there. How our society promotes vanity in all of its forms.
Yes.
So if women tend to be self-absorbed, and to your point, I think you made a valid point, how men do feed into that. What would be your recommendation? How do we stop that? How do we get her to be self-aware, but also consider now
Yes.
the man's experience
Yes.
when she comes to the knowledge of herself
Yes.
and she doesn't like it?
Okay, that's a layer question.
It is.
Right.
It is.
I think chapter 6 in my book is a chapter on accountability.
Oh,
And
you done look. You know how many women just turned off the video just now? You said the A word.
the A word.
We're gonna be demonetized now. That's an offense. No,
I want you to know how difficult and uncomfortable accountability, my road to accountability was for me.
Yeah.
It was rough. I want to say it took 6 months for me to take accountability for my role in the demise of my marriage, because I 100% blamed my co-parent.
Wow, 6 months.
It took 6 months of hard work.
Yeah, minimum too, right?
Well, that was when I really started to consider it, because I think you, from day one, were like, okay, Natalie, I think you have some work to do. And I believed that I didn't have a lot of work to do because I went to therapy and I went to couples therapy and I went to individual therapy. Yeah. And I did ask them, what is it that I'm missing? What about, and they were like, no, I think such, it seems to be, and maybe it was what I was saying, how I was complaining about him. But and when it occurred to me, when you challenged me to be empathetic towards him, then, and you pointed at the time, I guess I was ready to see myself, damn, that shit hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hurt, and it's not comfortable. Right? So for people who are self-absorbed, we want to be comfortable, we want to feel good, we want to look good all the time. Accountability doesn't feel good. So that would be the first step, to seek to be accountable. Yeah. I promise you, your relationship that's the first step to relationship resilience and longevity, when you're accountable, because accountability is sexy. Okay, it's sexy because then he can trust you deeper and he can trust you more. Many women, I hear women say, I want him to talk to me more. When he's going through, he doesn't talk to me, he gets quiet. Sis, take accountability for the things he brings to your attention, and he will tell you more about what's happening in his world, and things will shift in your relationship.
Absolutely. 'Cause culturally speaking, men are conditioned to be accountable.
Yes.
To the point where it's not even accountability anymore. What I mean by that is we'll apologize for things we didn't even do.
I'm sorry.
In the name of accountability. It's like, because if we don't apologize, then we're dismissive and, we don't understand and we're putting ourselves first. And it's a form of manipulation that amongst the men's circles we talk about.
Yeah.
Because if we say it out loud to women or even in front of women, they don't even realize how they validate that point by completely dismissing what we're saying, turning into a victim. I mean, right now, they probably cussing me out right now. You know what I mean?
That's unfortunate. And on behalf of the one or two women that understand what I'm saying, we apologize.
Right. Thank you very much.
But I remember an argument. Well, no, I did something to a friend of mine, and he told me about myself. He was like, "That is not good. You didn't call me when you said you would." And he was triggered, right? And I was like so agitated inside because I wanted to tell him about himself and it's not fair. And then I was like, "You're right.
Right.
Thank you for showing me. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate the conversation we have, and I appreciate you in my life. And I will do better next time to make sure that I put my stuff aside so I can call you back and tell you, that I'm en route or whatever the case is." And so, men appreciate things like that because we all know that respect is the first thing that means the most to men.
Absolutely.
And when we can take accountability, it shows them that we respect him for who he is and what he brings to the relationship. And we want this, right? Because when he feels respected, he does more. Remember, we're self-absorbed. So we want him to do more for us, but we have to be able to do and to contribute something to him and to the relationship. Accountability.
What's a healthy way? Because you just said something that I kind of want to just dig a little deeper in.
Yeah.
You wanted to become defensive. You wanted to say, "Hey, you saying this about me, but you ain't perfect. You be and I'm the last and then you just don't understand it, right?" Like you wanted to kind of go there and trigger all that, but you didn't.
Yeah.
What was the internal process? We about to set some women free. What's the internal process that you went through to stop yourself from going there?
I have learned to be empathetic. I've learned to, so it's empathy, internal process, empathy. Think about how he's feeling, right? Think about the fact that he communicated. He's doing the thing you've asked him to do, tell you what's happening in his heart and his world. So he's doing it and recognizing all of that. Now, I'm a person who I want to see the flaw. I want to make sure, I want to make you wrong. So personally, I was thinking of ways that he was wrong and I couldn't find it. He was right. So, he's right. And then I felt some type of way. So I did my deep breaths.
There we go.
And what do I have to lose when I take accountability for what he says I did to affect him negatively?
Pause. We got to let that question breathe.
Okay.
What do I have to lose when I take accountability?
Right.
What is she afraid of losing? That's a very deep question.
Okay. That is a deep question. She's what does she have to lose? A sense of control, a sense of strength, and a sense of power. And I want to talk about submission.
Yeah. Oh, we
right?
going there.
Right.
Yeah, we going there.
Stick a pin on that, right? Because a sense of control and a sense of power. I lose this sense of who I am if he sees me as wrong, if I take accountability for that thing that hurt him, which I didn't mean to do. Right. But I lose that sense. Maybe he'll see me as less than. Maybe he'll see me as different than what I want him to see me as. The fears of the relationship shifting, and he might go to whoever else and all the things. So sometimes we misinterpret the concern he has as a reason for him to leave and go somewhere else.
I see.
Because we have a good man. He's good. He's good to us. So it's layered.
I want to help women here. I want to help women that are with good men, right? Because this is a very nuanced conversation that we're having, right? So for the women that are with good men, if you think he doesn't know your flaws, he knows. He been knew he loves you anyway.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be clear.
Thank you for that. And that's a beautiful thing, to be loved anyway.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'd like to add a little bit more to that. As we learn how to be less self-absorbed, you'll be able to see how much he does love you and how much he does accept you in areas that you may not even need acceptance.
Right.
So it's a beautiful thing to be fully and wholly accepted by the man who loves you and who you've chosen and who has chosen you.
Yeah. But it's very hard for him to love you when it seems like the more he loves, the more she resists. right? So I'll give you an example. The way that men will love, right? It will come typically in the form of provision, whether that's financial, emotional. We give our time, our treasures,
Okay.
our talents, right? We
Right.
could fix that, we're gonna fix it, right?
Right.
It's a form of provision, right?
Okay.
And then protection,
Right.
where it's if we feel like she is endangering herself, whether it's physically endangering, like you shouldn't go there,
Right.
or you shouldn't go there at this time,
Right.
or you shouldn't go there like that, looking like that,
Right.
or it could be a financial danger where this is not the best decision financially.
Right.
You shouldn't buy this or you shouldn't spend money in this way because it just puts you in more of a hole. She doesn't seem to recognize that as love.
Right.
And the more he loves her like that, because she wants to do what she wants to do and she wants to be whoever she wants to be, it's almost like she wants to be in a relationship but maintain her single identity.
Okay. So I'm going to challenge that.
Okay.
Right? Because you ascribed a motivation because she wants to do what she wants to do. And I have to disagree to a certain extent. It's not necessarily that so much as it is, per my clinical observation, so much as it is her expectation that her partner treat her the way her girlfriends treat her.
Mercy. Oh, that's a problem. Break that down some more, please.
So
What I'm hearing you say, still break it down. What I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say is she's equating how her girlfriends love her as love and is expecting him to love her like they do.
yes.
Girl, that ain't it.
Yes.
So she's a lesbian. No, I'm joking.
Right? Because many women are disappointed when, she comes home or feeling unseen and unsupported. The guy at work or my supervisor said that, I came to work too late, but he doesn't understand that I have children to take care of and things of that nature. And when the husband says, well, babe, you can go to sleep a little bit earlier. And
Right.
you're taking her side. Whose side are you on? I just feel also unsupported. Versus, girl, do you believe that girl, you should just go ahead and quit because they don't know you. They don't know how much they need to value all of that. Right.
Yeah.
So, because the man is rational, he's rational. He wants to solve problems. He wants to protect, right? Yep. He'll tell her blind spots, love. We expect him to just respond the way our girlfriends respond because we love our girlfriends and we love our partner, our person, our partner. So, yeah.
We gotta help them unlearn that, because why I say that, because they only want. And I'm speaking obviously very general.
Yes.
So if you're triggered, I'm not sorry. They want us to act like they're girlfriends, but only up to a point.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we act too much like them, then we're sassy or we're whatever. There's a whole bunch of other terms that they have for us.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little conundrum here.
It's a conundrum, and I can see how. Yeah, and it goes back to the control. Like, I want you to be this way because it makes me feel more comfortable.
Correct. And not to cut you off, but there's this narrative that I've witnessed, as I'm observing, right?
Right.
Where it's almost as if the man does not cater to whatever makes her feel comfortable, then he doesn't love me, or worse, he's toxic.
Oh, wow. Or narcissistic, right?
Or narcissistic, right? Any man that they can't control, or any man that they can't manipulate, right?
Or
when she puts the tears on.
Right.
Right, because it's supposed to be, if I'm crying, you're supposed to take this serious. And the assumption is he's not taking it serious because he's not doing what I asked him to do. Right. That's the assumption. But if he was to say that, and he typically will say that, like, babe, I love you.
Right.
I feel for you, but this just isn't a good decision, or this isn't whatever.
Right.
And she's like, oh, he's narcissistic. He's just focused on himself.
I'm not even sure what to say to that. In my sessions, I'm the type of therapist that is quite direct. I do speak to each spouse, each partner directly. I do lead with questions and to bring awareness to both people. Sometimes, the worst case scenarios, the person who I'm holding accountable feels attacked and cornered.
Yep.
But by the time we get to that space, thankfully, they know that I care about them. They know that I want the best for that relationship. And they take the time at least to listen and to consider what I'm saying. It takes time. It's an unlearning and a relearning. And once again, this is for the purpose of your relationship's longevity and resilience.
Right.
And if this is what you want, then these are the changes that need to be made. Because what I do point to is, well, did you really marry a man that was going to be sassy? Did you marry a man that was going to be narcissistic? And many times I say, I don't think you would have married him if he was a true narcissist. I don't think you would have gotten with him. And didn't he do this the last time? And didn't he say that? And, many times I'll ask her to look at him and really observe the look of concern or sadness in his eyes, right. and give them a moment to really to sit in that energy and sit in that moment so that her brain can register the love that he has for her. And I will ask a certain pointed question and he'll start to say, I love her. When I was such and such, he'll start explaining, and I'll pause and I'll say, now look at him and hold hands and don't break eye contact. Because I want you to hear what he's telling you. And many times, thankfully, that turns the ship around and we are on the road to resilience and longevity.
I love that. I want to shift gears. Nope. Before I shift gears, I do want to deal with women, and I'll dare say Black women.
Okay.
Perception of this word submission. Do you use that word in your book at all?
I don't think I do. I probably should. I probably should, but I will in 2.0.
Got it.
Relationship Resilience 2.0.
Oh, y'all hear that? Exclusive. Exclusive breakthrough.
Relationship Resilience 2.0.
So how would you define submission? And we might have a conversation.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we might see it the same way, but how would you define submission?
Submission is submission to me is the relinquishing of control to another person who is in authority, who is leading. Okay. That was off the top of my head.
Right.
And submission should be given to a person who has proven himself to be worthy of your submission, not just any and anybody. When I say proven, and in the context of relationship, committed long-term relationship, he has proven himself to be worthy of that of that submission. The Bible says, wives, submit yourselves to your husband as you do unto Christ, which tells me that she's already learned how to submit to the authority of somebody that's proven himself worthy of submission, meaning, Christ has proven himself that he was going to come through for you, that he loves you and cares about you, that he's provided for you, protected you, and shown you grace and mercy and all the wonderful things, and made you his bride, his queen, done all the things, elevated you. And so this is what a husband would needed to have done before he became your husband, so that it's easier for you to submit, because he's proven himself worthy to be your leader, to his vision for you and for the family.
I pointed at you when you said that because for a lot of men, the fact that we're married is the stamp of approval that says you see me as a man that you can submit to. But as you probably know, as well as I know, in a lot of these marriages, she might feel like he hasn't proven that. And I would submit that there's a lot of healing that she has to do, but it's hard to even get her to address that when she feels like he's not stepping up. Remember, I spoke about that, right? And when you talk to the man, he would say a lot of times, I've tried, I've said this, I've given suggestions, and she just won't cooperate. He wouldn't even say submit, just won't cooperate. Right. And once again, for me, submission really, everything you said was beautiful, by the way. This is not even to counter what you're saying, but just to add to it. Submission really matters when there is a fork on the road and a decision has to be made. Like, these women talk about partnership as if partnership means if I have a preference, you abide by that preference, right? And so when there's a fork in the road, there is no compromise. There is no middle ground.
Right.
One way is going to lead us this way.
Right.
And the other way is going to lead us that way.
Right.
At that point, the man is asking, do you trust me?
So I'd like to speak to that a little bit, because for the women who are the strong Black women, for the women who have been parentified, meaning as children they've had to make adult decisions and they've had to take care of their children and they've had to be emotionally available for their parents when their parents were not emotionally available, right? So then they get married because, he's like, this woman, she's got it all together. She's a package. And then what? I've got to trust you? After my whole life has been making decisions for myself and other people.
Wow.
And I always have the right answer for everybody else.
Wow. Girl, you talking. Go ahead. Go and get it. Go off. You talking right
Where
now.
they do that at? Like, how am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
So you don't understand me. It's not fair. Like, all of that. It's right. So there has, I would ask everyone to consider giving him the space to learn how to do it, right? But I think that's where the dating comes in.
Good point.
That's where intentional dating comes in, so that she can learn the soft light. She can learn how to land in soft spaces. It's a learning curve for those of us who have been parentified. We don't just step into trusting and submitting. It just doesn't happen like that.
Right.
So the encouragement to the men who are listening is to just be patient. Be patient. She's going to get there. And to my women out there, trust him. You married him.
Right.
You married him for a reason, not for you to lead and control and direct the relationship, and so he can. Yeah. Yeah. And to that point, you don't. Okay, I'm going to speak boldly, and I'm going to speak presumptuously.
Please do it.
You don't want to lead the relationship. And forgive me for being so forward and forthright and direct. You don't want it. And men, you don't want her to lead it, even though she's capable, because she will disrespect you. She will not see value in you anymore. Right? And it's a recipe for a next man. If you let her lead. So
she will always be attracted to the one that she respects. Yeah. And she will always respect the one that she can follow. That is a fact. And in my course, Restoring Masculinity, I talk about all of that. I help men first learn how to lead themselves.
Good.
Because how you going to lead a woman or even your kids or society, and you ain't even master yourself, right? You haven't even learned how to lead and practice restraint within yourself, right? So it always starts with self. But what you just said was spot on. So I do want to speak to the women, which you already did, but I kind of want to hone in on the women who they say they're trying. They say, I've given all of this a shot. I've been going to therapy, but my man, as much as I love him, he's just not the one. Like, he's not him. I can't trust him. Right. He's bad with money, or he's still not opening emotionally. And as we both know, sometimes it's hard to tell anybody, like, you might be giving it your all, but what you're doing still isn't enough, right? And that goes both ways.
It goes both ways. So to some degree, there needs to be a level of acceptance that this is the man that you married.
Come on, somebody.
And if he chooses, and this is something that you have said to me, when I've shared some of my dating experiences with you, and I've seen this most recently in social media, the man that you're dating and the man that you're, considering, this is who he is today, and this is who he's going to be. He's not going to change. And if you married a man that was lazy or highly emotional or just not a leader, doesn't know how to be a leader, that's pretty much who he's going to be, unless something drastic happens and he just happens to want to change.
Right.
There's nothing that you're going to be able to do or say to make him change.
Right.
The best thing for you would be to continue to live your best life and show up authentically and continue to just love and be the wife that you signed up to be. I think you could still be a happy wife. You could still be happy and fulfilled in your life, doing the things that you want to do for your life and for yourself. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, although you may be married, you have yourself. At the end of the day, when he's nutted and you've nutted and you've cleaned up and you're taking your shower and it's bedtime, I had to put that in. You just have yourself, your prayers, your God, and the things that you want to do and you need to do to leave an imprint in this world and to live your best life. So
For a lot of these women, though, their best life is to leave him. Because to your point, I married this man. I realized the type of man he is. Maybe I thought I could change him.
Okay.
I now realize 7 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, oh, I can't change this man. And so I'm no longer going to subject myself to this. I'm out the door.
Okay. Dr. Gabor Mate, one of my favorite he's a medical doctor out of Vancouver, Canada, and he is a pioneer in trauma and I want to say relationships also. A pioneer. I love him. If you're out here listening, Dr. Gabor, I love you.
Big up to Dr. Gabor.
Dr. Gabor. He says that. He mentions that. He's like, there are two choices you can make. He says you can leave or you can stay and you can leave or you can stay. Because to try to change him is to make yourself crazy. So yeah, that could be an option. It's not recommended because ultimately he's doing his best and he's showing up in his best way because he likes you, he loves you, he wants to be with you, and he wants to provide for you and do all the things and keep the family together. So, yeah, I don't think you have to, but I understand the point about leaving because it's, you want to live your best life. I get that, but I don't think that that's the answer. I know wives that, who have come to that conclusion, right? But that I've encouraged to stay and who are living their best lives,
right,
doing her thing and enjoying life and being fulfilled and finding pathways to maintain resilience and longevity with her husband. And they have found ways, like I said, to do things together and to be together. That has taken, those relationships take long conversations, difficult conversations, conversations that sound like, if I could do this again, it wouldn't have been with you. And okay, but I'm here and I want to keep this. So what are we going to do to keep this? Those kinds of conversations. And they make it work. And that's and I champion couples that are able to do that. And that's the mark of relationship resilience because they find joy in themselves for their own lives and they find joy in each other and they make it work.
I want to bring up a slightly different topic. This might be our last one, but you're doing so good. I don't know. I might keep you all night. I focus on dealing with men, right? Men is my specialty. I do. Obviously, I coach women, right?
Right.
Obviously,
right.
but I tend to focus on men because men tend to be the most neglected in society.
Yes.
And it's creating a safe space for men is what my mission is because there aren't many safe spaces for men.
Right. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yes.
And so I know when I am mentoring, really this would be more in a mentoring role. When I'm mentoring young men who are just getting married, I will tell them, hey, when she gets pregnant, if she gets pregnant, give her grace because you're going to have to get to know her all over again.
Yeah.
And they look at me like, no, da, 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 da. I'm like, brother, listen, from an OG to the mentee, just hear what I'm saying. Right. We'll revisit this when the time comes.
Right.
I'm just helping you now, right? And part of the reason is because when she gets pregnant, when she becomes a mother, the man, the father, the husband, whatever, the long-term partner gets put on the back burner. Particularly if it's her first child. It's like she is invested in her child, which she should be. I don't want to make that sound like it's a bad thing.
Right.
But then it turns into he's expected to now relinquish all desires and expectations from her as she's a mother. You know how I talk. So what's a gracious way of kind of explaining to a mother that she still has a responsibility to her partner, or are men tripping for even expecting her to still be available?
That's a good point. That's a good question. I don't think that men are tripping to expect her to still be available. All right. This goes to self-care because it's very possible for you to take care of your baby, love on your baby. It's very possible to do that. And to take care of yourself and to give your husband what he needs and what he wants. Because at the end of the day, your husband hasn't stopped wanting you.
Right.
He has not stopped loving you. He probably loved you 10 times more because you carried his seed and birthed his child. So, and wants to demonstrate that love in the manner of intercourse and affection and all those wonderful things. And he watches you love on his child and cook for the family. That is so attractive, so sexy, right? So the encouragement is to maintain the self-care and the beauty. And I'm not asking you to get eyelashes and go to and all of the exorbitant things. No, because in the moo with your bra off and all the things, it's still wonderful because
you're still fine.
You're in the throes of the life that he envisioned with you before he asked you to marry him. But I have to say that part of that issue is the lack of community. It's easier said than done. What I just said is easier said than done. But when there's not a community, when there's not people that you can trust that will take care of your children the way that you want to, or the way that you've envisioned, if you're not getting along with your mother-in-law and you don't trust her, or if you've experienced a level of trauma in your childhood that's unresolved, it's difficult for you to relinquish a level of protection over your children. Now, I use the word relinquished. I need to use a different word. Share, right? Share protection of your children and care for your children. So this is a call to the community to come together so that our couples can stay together. And I do talk about the community in my book. I do make mention that there was a lack of community involvement, or maybe just not what my husband, my ex-husband and I, my co-parent and I needed at the time to help us to stay together. So that's what I would say to that.
No, I support that 100%. I'm going to add to that because I don't think this really gets discussed. When you watch the mother of your child make like intentional sacrifices to love their child, and she won't make intentional sacrifices to love you, right? Like, men have seen this over and over again, and for a lot of times if he does express it, it's dismissive. It's like, but you're not my child, or like, it's like the whole point is missed, because what he's really talking about is the willingness to sacrifice.
Yeah.
He's not talking about loving me how you love them, but the willingness to sacrifice.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It goes back to being less self-absorbed, and because in this moment, what I'm realizing is that when your man comes home with the flowers, or he comes home and says, "Don't cook, I've ordered out," he spent time while he was at work or on the way home thinking about how to make your life easier.
Right.
So while we're thinking about what to cook the kids, or we're doing the ABCs with the babies, it is incumbent upon us to think about how we can make love to him that night, and how we can surprise him, or just spend time rubbing his back, or meeting him in the shower, or just listening to him as he shares a little bit of his day with us. Spend some time thinking about how we can do that. And that will change his world and really fill his cup, because that's part of the reason why I would imagine that you did that when you were dating, at least some version of that when you were dating him. And it doesn't need to stop after the children come, right? So there's that point. The other point is, you are also modeling to your children what love looks like and what relationships look like.
Great point.
When you adore their father, and as they watch their father adore you, you are modeling that. You're modeling heaven to your children and to your family and to the community.
That is a great point. I know with my kids, every time me and Abby, the queen, babe, I love you, babe. Every time we kiss, they be like, ew, but they do the ew with like a sense of pride. Yes, like, look at them loving. They don't have the language. They're young. Right, they don't have the language, but I can sense, or I can tell that it does impact them. Right. And I'm hoping that they won't settle for anything less.
Right.
That what I've modeled and what she's modeled, they look as a standard,
yes,
to build on.
Yeah.
Now, what you just said about when he brings the flowers and the takeout and all that. some women look at that as transactional. Now, if I give them some after that, it's a transaction. Now, full transparency, for a lot of brothers,
It is.
they don't care if it's they don't care if it's transactional. Look, if I get you these flowers, I'm gonna get these cheeks. You will get a dozen a week, I promise, right? Okay. So it's not even so concerning. And I say that facetiously, right?
Right.
Because he's starving, right? So it's like whatever I gotta do to get something. If it is transactional, so be it, as long as I'm not neglected, right? Okay. But for the women, they're like, oh, I don't want to feel obligated. And when women say things like, I don't want to feel obligated, what he hears is, so you don't want to have sex with me. And some women would say yes, while in a long-term longevity relationship, and expect it to work. So please.
Yeah, ladies, okay, I'm going to say this with all sensitivity. Being in a marriage or in a long-term committed relationship, not having sex is not an option. It's not an option, ladies. It's not an option. And I speak about sex in my book. And the title of chapter 4 is Give It to Him Freely. And not just because he desires it, but because it's desirable for you. It feels good. It's good. It's enjoyable. Why not? Enjoy it and partake of it. Share it with him. All right. But I want to also make a point about friendship and having a friendship before you take the step into long-term, into marriage, because it's that friendship that will soften your heart to him and I use that word loosely now, inspire you to give him, to share intimacy with him in that way. Dog tired, not bathed maybe, or just, washed up. Give it to him because you love him, because you're his friend and he's your friend. Y'all are going to giggle in the sheets and talk a little bit about something and go to sleep. Okay. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's possible and it's doable. And if in some way down the way, somewhere along the line, the friendship is lost, it's possible to rekindle. I've told some couples to go play games. Find a game, board game, outside, something, play. Because that's where the rebonding is. That's where the laughter comes in, right?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. So. And I'm gonna bring up this also, because we tend to talk about sex, but sometimes it's just how she greets him. Mm-hmm. I've heard several men tell me how, no matter how tired she is, when the kids come, the smiles turn on. She's bright. Yeah. But when he comes, he doesn't get any of that. Mm-hmm. Now, I did have to explain to the man that because you're the safe space. You're the space where she can be herself. Mm-hmm. And so you want to consider that aspect, right? You don't want her to always perform for you, because then who can she be vulnerable with? Whoever she can be vulnerable with, that's who's going to end up with her, okay, right? So the man has to consider that aspect, right? But it is a fair point to say that when the friend calls, for example, she's tired, she's like, I'm about to go to sleep. She looks, gets a phone call, who's calling me now? She's a friend. Hey, girl, like all this energy, and it's like, you was just about to be knocked out. I said, can we have some fun? And you're like, I'm tired. And then your friend called, you get all of this energy. It does make the man feel away. Yes.
And on behalf of the 2 or 3 women that understand what I'm saying, we apologize because it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It circles back to the self-absorption, just the lack of thoughtfulness of him. Now, I want to also say that we don't know men as, I'll say, as a species, as a human. We are not familiar with how men think and how they show up and how they communicate. So that also is a learning curve for us. He's human. He has feelings too. He has needs beyond sex, right? He needs to be seen, and he needs to be empathized with, and needs to have a safe space, because he's a whole human being.
Exactly.
And so the time taken to consider that. I remember when I was married, an old friend of mine, I said something to her. I told her something about my firstborn, a boy, and she was familiar with some of the difficulties I was having with my husband at the time. And then she commented about whatever I said about my firstborn. She was like, he was a boy once before also, as if to say, like, yeah, he has feelings too. I'm sure that he would appreciate. And it went,
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
well, I don't
yeah.
know what you're saying that. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's
But
so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. In retrospect, I'm like, yeah, okay. He's a human, and he would have probably, I'm sure not probably, but appreciated a certain level of adoration and joy from me at the time. But he just didn't get it. But there were layers also. There was some depth to my interaction and my responses to him also. Some unresolved hurt, some unresolved wounds that were compounded with some of the things that happened in the marriage. So, yeah, I want to speak to that also. As women who feel some type of way, sometimes when he brings up his concerns, it's not that his concerns are unimportant, it's that it triggers something else that happened before. And we don't know, because many times we don't have words for it, we just have tears for it. And to that, I'd say, please come to therapy so that you can heal from that and be whole and see yourself as human, which has been a journey for me, and so that you can reconnect to yourself and reconnect to your partner. And be on the road to longevity and resilience.
That is awesome. So I guess my final question, maybe, what's something that you would want to talk about that we haven't talked about that you feel is important for the world to know?
The fact that sometimes you're not going to like your partner.
We have not talked about that. Yeah. That's a fair point.
You're not going to like your partner. And we don't talk about that. You're right. We don't talk about that. I remember telling a client that, you're not going to like him. This is who he is. This is who he is. And he's not perfect. And he's not going to be perfect. He's human. Y'all have built enough. And this is not what I told the particular client. This is what I'm saying now. You've built a life together. You're building a life together. You've created a bond. And, you've told me that you love him. And he's told me that he loves you. And both of you agree that there's love there. Right. But he happens to be an asshole sometimes.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I don't know how women talk about it, right? But I know with men, if our wives or our long-term girlfriend, they do something that's annoying, we'll talk about it with each other, and we'll just be like, man, she get on my nerves, right? And then, it's all love, because we know we ain't going nowhere. We still love her, and we will handle somebody for her, right?
Okay.
But, we say it amongst each other as a form of support, because there's a difference between I don't like her right now and I don't like her at all, and there will be times where she might do something that you don't like, but it doesn't mean I'm going to throw it away. But sometimes men will feel like when we do something she doesn't like, she will throw it all away. She will use language like that. Now, I try to toughen men up and say, look, that's just how she feels. She's speaking out of her emotions. That's not really her intent. At the same time, I don't think that's fair, but I don't even like to say fair. I don't think it's healthy to consistently have the relationship threatened because a man does something that she doesn't like. So what are your thoughts to that?
Yeah, I think that I agree. A woman need not use language that communicates that the relationship is threatened. But that also, I would say, speaks to her internal narrative about herself and about her insecurities in the relationship. Not that she's insecure, but that she hasn't been able to recognize how secure the relationship is. But then again, women are good for throwing relationships away and cutting people off. Yeah, we're good for that. And which are all emotional decisions. Yeah. And so it circles back to the emotional intelligence, the emotional resilience, and to learn how to be rational. I'm in this relationship. I'm in this marriage. I want this man. He wants me. So I'm going to, process it, the empathy, the steps that I took, the empathy, the breathing, seeing his perspective, and deciding what do I have to lose by, accepting what he has said to me, or if I'm upset with him, working through it. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. And landing on that.
I like to add also, considering what do I have to gain? Because there's so much you can gain from that level of honesty and transparency. True. That we ignore. Because to your point, like you said earlier, the way that we can trust you, right, when we know that you'll be upfront with us. Yes, true. And we, it's a real thing when we'll know you're lying, or we'll know that you're not divulging the full truth. We'll know it. And we'll probe a little bit, but at some point we start to question, should I trust her at all? And you don't want a man to go down that dark hole.
Okay.
That is that hole of, I don't know if I can trust her, is a hard hole to get out of. He can get out of it though, don't get me wrong. But it's a hard hole to get out of because it's going to require a level of radical honesty. You know, because for a man, typically speaking, we have our emotions, we get triggered, we have all of that, right? But because we value respect highly, we will respect you more if we know what it is. If you don't beat around the bush, or because a lot of women will try to like preserve our ego, quote unquote. And yes, I'm working with the brothers with the high ego. We're gonna help these brothers out, right? But most men, once the ego subsides, there is a level of, you know what? Most women wouldn't have said it like that. Most women wouldn't have brought it to my attention. So now they're more willing to commit. Because I like to say this, when the butterflies end, that's when the relationship truly begins. When it's time to put in work.
When time to put in the work. I have a friend who tells me, if he asks me a question and I hesitate, he'll say, no, tell me. And he was like, you could tell me, no, you could tell me. And he'll posture and listen. And I really do appreciate that about him, that he's not afraid to hear what I want to say, no matter how I say it.
Exactly.
I think it helps that he's from New York, so.
You know, listen, man, us from the East Coast, we cut different.
Yes,
you feel me?
yes. Y'all are direct like nobody's business. Yeah. So it's important, and it goes to that level of communication, right? Intimate communication. Somebody said, I think I said this during our last conversation, intimacy. Yeah, the intimacy piece. And it's scary. It's scary and it's not comfortable. And back to there are days when you're not going to like each other, like legit. I don't like him, like legitimately. And you want me to have sex with him? Right. Yes. Yes.
Gospel truth right there.
Why? Because it still feels good. Get out of your head. Do the thing. And that other part. Fill in the blank.
Yeah. Get out of your head and start giving some head.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'll say it for you. It's cool. It's my podcast. It's my platform. Get out of your head and start giving some head.
And
Go
just
ahead.
Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. It's good. It's good. And it's better in the context of commitment, long-term commitment, and marriage better. But it's just better.
Well, Natalie, thank you for this conversation. I mean, this is not the last one, obviously. You already leaked you're going to do a 2.0, but I'm sure there's going to be other things that we need to talk about. Yeah. How can they find you?
I'm on Facebook, Natalie Alexander, Instagram at Natalie Alexander LPC. I'm in Psychology Today, Natalie Alexander, and TikTok, Butterfly Institute.
Awesome. There it is. And I'm Lawrence Souffrant. Y'all know who it is. Thank you once again for joining us. And we're out of here. Peace.
Bye. Thanks, Lawrence.